From break-ins gone wrong to brawls that went viral. These are the nights when real life turned into an octagon. Today, we're breaking down 5 times random people accidentally fought UFC fighters and found out the hard way that not all battles are meant to be fought. Let's start with the man who woke up to a nightmare and handled it like a war. Anthony Smith versus the home intruder. It's 4 a.m. Anthony Lionheart Smith, light heavyweight contender, family man, calm analyst, is asleep. His wife and 3 daughters are home. Then a scream, a sound so loud it vibrates through the walls. Not the kind of sound you hear in suburbia, the kind that flips your survival switch. He grabs whatever's nearby and steps into the hallway. And there he is, a stranger, barefoot, screaming, flexing like he's about to audition for a horror movie. Smith hesitates for a second, then charges. What follows isn't a clean UFC takedown. It's chaos.
It's coming my way, so I paused and kind of thought to myself.
Furniture breaking, grunts, panic. Smith takes him down, elbows flying, fists hammering, but the guy doesn't stop. This was one of the toughest fights of my life, Smith said later.
And then just panic. It's like the most terrifying moment of your life.
He's fought John Jones, Shogun Rua, Gustafsson. But this random 22-year-old, 165 pounds of adrenaline and insanity just wouldn't go down. Minutes pass. Smith is exhausted. His living room looks like a crime scene. When police finally drag the man away, he's bleeding, swollen, still fighting. Not a break-in, not revenge, just chaos. A total stranger who picked the wrong house on earth to enter. If you ever wondered what happens when a civilian fights a pro, this is it. No gloves, no crowd, no mercy. Mike Perry versus the restaurant crowd. If Anthony Smith is the calm after the storm, Mike Perry is the storm.
Right hand and another big knee. He's hurt bad. Perry looking to finish.
A one-man highlight reel of violence and self-sabotage. It's 2020, a restaurant in Texas. Perry's with his girlfriend, the one he famously used as his only corner during fights. Drinks are flowing, voices rise. Somebody says the wrong thing. Perry stands up, and suddenly, the room shifts from dinner to demolition. He slaps the restaurant manager, just because. Outside, an older man tries to calm him down. Perry turns, dead-eyed, fists cocked. One punch.
Piece of shit. Hey, no. Hey!
The man collapses. You touched me. He touched me first. Perry shouts.
Touch me? Oh, you didn't touch me?
The kind of logic that sounds fine inside a bar and insane everywhere else. Police charge him with assault. He blames the world. And the wildest part, this isn't new. 4 years earlier, another man allegedly hit on Perry's partner. Same ending, different night. Perry's a living paradox, skilled enough to destroy anyone in seconds, but too wild to stop himself from proving it. Alcohol doesn't fuel him, it unleashes him. And in the octagon of public life, Mike Perry keeps swinging long after the bell. If you thought that was unhinged, wait till you see what happens when someone decides to square up with Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz versus the Logan Paul lookalike. New Orleans, 2023. A Misfits boxing event spills into the street at 2 a.m. A chaos cocktail of ego, fame, and bad decisions. Nate Diaz walks out, hoodie up, looking like a glitch in the Matrix. A crowd of wannabe influencers orbit around him. Then, enter the lookalike, fake Logan Paul, hands up saying, "I don't want to fight." Wrong move. Diaz doesn't do peaceful negotiation. He snatches the guy by the neck, locks in a guillotine, and squeezes. Seconds later, the man's out cold, crumpled like a marionette with cut strings. Cameras roll. Social media erupts. By sunrise, Diaz turns himself in, calm, casual, unbothered. But the plot twist? The victim isn't just some random dude. He's an amateur MMA fighter. Record, 0-5. Nickname, not Logan Paul. You can't make this up. He tries to sue Diaz, claims head trauma, loss of income, psychological distress. Diaz's legal team responds with a single LOL. And that's how it ends. One man's humiliation, another man's warm-up drill. Nate Diaz doesn't fight for sport, he fights because it's his language. And if you run up on him at 2 a.m., you're about to get fluent real quick. You might think UFC fighters are all rage and reflex, but then there's Matt Serra, small, laughing, a teddy bear with black belt credentials, until you spill a drink in his direction. Matt Serra versus the drunk at the diner. Las Vegas, night before Matt Serra's Hall of Fame induction. He's at dinner with his wife, celebrating, calm, retired. Then chaos walks in, a drunk guy, loud, throwing things, picking fights with waiters. Serra tries to ignore it, but then the guy takes off his shirt. That's a universal sign for things are about to get stupid. The drunk charges. Serra's instincts take over. In a blur, he's on top of him, mounted like a spider clinging to a wall. Calm down, Serra says, laughing. The guy's thrashing, cursing, promising to press charges. Serra just holds him there, grinning, waiting for security. Years of BJJ boiled down to this. One man neutralized without a single punch. That's the quiet power of a true martial artist. Control, not chaos. Dominance without destruction. And somewhere in that restaurant, between spilled drinks and shattered pride, a lesson was learned. Never start a fight with a guy whose warm-up drills involve choking out legends. But if you think UFC fighters always win in the wild, think again. Even warriors fall. Even gods bleed. And that brings us to one of the most surreal moments in UFC history. BJ Penn versus the streets of Hawaii. Once upon a time, BJ Penn was untouchable. The prodigy, 2-division champion, a jiu-jitsu savant who choked out monsters twice his size. He wasn't just a fighter, he was mythology in motion. But legends don't always age gracefully. By 2019, Penn hadn't won a fight in 8 years. The chin that once took granite punches was cracking. The aura was fading. And then, one night in Hawaii, it all came crashing down. Cell phone footage shows Penn outside a bar, shirtless, slurring, daring a man to hit him. Come on, hit me. The man obliges. One punch, BJ Penn drops. The internet explodes. The fall of a titan captured in 240p. Later, another clip surfaces. Penn on top, raining punches. Redemption? Maybe, but the damage is already done. A legend felled not by a rival, but by his own demons. It's the saddest kind of knockout, when the fighter can't recognize the fight is already over. If there's a theme to all of this, it's simple. The cage doesn't end when the fight does. For Anthony Smith, the cage followed him home. For Mike Perry, it followed him into every bar he walked into. For Nate Diaz, it's the street itself. For Matt Serra, it's a test of restraint. And for BJ Penn, it became a mirror, showing him the man he used to be and the one he'd become. These aren't just fights. They're moments when the mask of celebrity gets torn off, when instinct overrules reason, when the human animal reminds the world we're all one bad decision away from chaos. Coda, the price of the cage. The UFC builds warriors, but it doesn't teach them what to do when the crowd's gone, when the lights are out, when the only opponent left is yourself. Anthony Smith learned that even the strongest can feel fear. Mike Perry learned that anger doesn't make you powerful, it makes you lost. Nate Diaz proved that violence isn't always evil, sometimes it's just habit. Matt Serra showed that real strength is knowing when not to throw the punch. And BJ Penn, he showed what happens when the fight outlives the fighter. There's something poetic in that, not beautiful, just real. Fists are temporary, reputation is fragile, and when the gloves come off, you don't always win, because outside the octagon, there are no rounds, no refs, no mercy, just chaos, and the fighters who survived it. In a world full of fighters, the scariest thing isn't losing the fight, it's realizing you've become the reason it started.